Alright, the video is done and now I can finally relax.
Who's hungry for more?
Alright, so the Kickstarter trailer just came out this midnight, and since I already analyzed the teaser trailer a few days ago, we're doing the full trailer as well. So get ready as we break down the Kickstarter trailer of Margin of the Strange. As mentioned in the previous video, I highly recommend you watch the trailer yourself and support the game on Kickstarter before continuing the video. The first thing we see is a cutscene of Ling waking up in what we discussed in the previous trailer to be the dream world, where we see him standing in front of those cherry blossoms, with the moth in his hand, which we now know through the Kickstarter is called Nil. After that, we see both of them look towards what I now know thanks to Margin of Error is the nucleus in the sky, followed by some locations in the game. The first location seems to be the location next to the table room, most likely the path at the bottom. We have seen the second location in the press kit and for a second in the previous video, but the third location seems like some kind of middle ground or hub, where you can place things like presumably the flowering pot from Hesper that sells you items who we also see later in the trailer. The fourth location was also revealed in the press release, and then we come back to the table room, but this time the parts where the mirror is broken from are different, which makes me believe that the broken parts of the mirror are probably scattered across 4 different regions, which would make sense given that there are 4 different paths you can go to. Afterwards, we see the cutscene of Ling laying down on the table and starting to sleep, dreaming of his sister, something that we saw in the teaser trailer and the press kit, but I never noticed that these were essentially reversed in the teaser until now. Anyway, after that we see Ling running in multiple different regions. The regions seem to have a connecting type of themes or a theme of things that I could only assume right now would have to do something with flying or being in the sky. Given that paper airplanes can fly, the tea kettles in the sky, the moon at the night, and the sky are all shining bright as a theme of the light. Okay, I'll stop. Either way, after this we see Ling trying to cut down one of the cherry blossoms, which also fits with the theory from Margin of Error that there could be combat or combat-esque things. Here we also see the bar from Ling depletes every time he attacks, meaning this could actually be a stamina bar or attack bar, for how many times you will be able to attack before running out of stamina. After this, we of course see our wonderful shop seller Hesper, who we have seen in the previous video as well, but now we are also able to see some information about some of the other items in the shop. The candles give the information saying that we will need to have them to open a new passageway, most likely to progress and get more shots of the mirror. The hydrangea capsule says turns a flower into a seed-like capsule that contains its genetic information. The pink mushroom capsule is essentially the same but for mushrooms, and the same goes for blueberry capsules but for fruits. We do not get shown any information regarding the planting well though. After that we see both Ling and Nil on a catwalk looking up towards Saturn. Nothing too special, and we get hit with flashing images of characters again. I mean, it's essentially a staple of Night Margin to flash characters of our games at us. We have seen this with OneShot as well. The first image we see are 2 new characters, the one on the left being called Amaranth and the one on the right not being known yet, but we can assume that these 2 are siblings. The other flashing images are also characters whose names we don't know yet, but the character at the end seems to either know something about Ling or wants to find out more about him. Given a look at the end just before we see snippets of Ling at different real-world locations like the rooftop, a subway and a location with multiple windmills, before we get to see Ling standing next to a very large red ring. The same one we also saw as the thumbnail for the teaser trailer before the game was announced. After this we see Ling walking in a dark room with the DNA strands again before we get to the cutscene of Ling hanging the red string on pictures of characters, which perfectly aligned with my prediction of it tying together with friendship.png. Though it probably doesn't mean that we will be able to play them, as it could also just be the people Ling meets along his journey and who knows who, like how Woodrain said in the comments of the previous video. At the end though, we see Ling closing the book in the presumably hospital, with the contents in the book also seemingly aligning with the friendship.png image. Before Ling then goes to bed, the blue antennas come back and the trailer ends with the logo of the game appearing and them linking to the Kickstarter, which has already reached its goal after less than 4 hours. With all of the footage we have got now, I'm going to theorize that the book in the hospital is linked to the friendship.png image, where Ling writes his connections in with the people he meets from both the real world and the dream world, while in the dream world we search for shards of the mirror in the table room in different locations to remember parts of Link's story and how he died. And again, that is all I could find for now. If I should have missed something or gotten something wrong, make sure to correct me for them in the comments, and see how I interviewed Trice to see what happened in his life which affected his VTubing journey and more.